What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Canes Insight Daily Podcast, powered by Anna Jar Levine Accident Attorneys. The portal keeps on cooking, multiple sports. On the women's basketball front, the Cavinder Twins are back at the U. We talked about Hannah yesterday. Haley has now joined her sister, two of the biggest stars in college basketball, back in Miami. Also, football. We're focusing on the defensive tackle position. What are some names in the portal that Miami is interested in and could be pursuing? Also have an interview with Canes Connection athlete and the best returning defensive tackle on the team, Jared Harrison-Hunte. You guys are going to love that interview. He was awesome. First, I want to talk about some folks that aren't going anywhere. That is Anna Jar Levine, offices throughout Florida. If you or someone you care about has been in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Deal with the absolute best Anna Jar Levine accident attorneys. They'll deal with your whole process beginning to end with expert care and personal attention. You are not just a number. You are a valued client. 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life. First bit of big news today. Like we mentioned, Haley Cavender returning to the University of Miami. She had the tweet with the reasons for her return. Of course, foremost among them, her sister Hannah returning to Miami, which she announced yesterday. Big news for women's basketball. These were two important members of that Elite Eight team. Haley being the more productive of the sisters, 12.2 points per game, 4.9 rebounds per game, 2.5 assists per game, and 40% from three on that Elite Eight team. She had committed to TCU, but now with her sister returning to college basketball at Miami, she is coming back to Miami. Huge coup for Trisha Cullop, for Fitzroy Anthony, a top assistant to Trish at the University of Miami. And this is not the end. From what I'm told, Miami is still working on some pretty big moves as far as the women's basketball team and getting that thing up and running to where it was a couple of years ago. So exciting news for women's basketball. You know, in terms of the Cavinder Twins coming back and why they came back, you know, they had signed NILs with the WWE last year. In the portal, they were continuing to look for impact talent and some exciting names being discussed, which we may be talking about later on the Canes Insight podcast. You're a women's basketball fan, men's basketball fan, get the jerseys at Canes wear. You know, they got every single color. They got the baseball jerseys. If you're still holding on to belief there, that's been a rough season. Or if you want to go to the standard football, they got the number 1 for Cam Ward, number 1 for Francisco Malinoa. Check out Canes wear on Davie or caneswear.com. The absolute best and the spot where Miami fans shop. Moving on to the football team. This is a defensive tackle-centric episode. We're going to talk about some names in the portal and also interview Jared Harrison-Hunte, the best defensive tackle on the team. But back to the state of the room. You added C.J. Clark from NC State. Miami coaches believe he can be an NFL-caliber defensive tackle. Played great last year against the Miami Hurricanes and played great last year in general for NC State. Marley Cook, more of an undersized player, but dominated Miami when he was at Middle Tennessee. Entered the portal this year, had offers from Miami and Ohio State, chose Miami, absolute monster in the weight room, probably the strongest pound-for-pound player in the weight room, has that kind of wrestler, low to the gravity style, low to the ground, center gravity style, where he's hard to move. He's a pain to play against. Is he going to be that stout SEC, Georgia, Alabama type defensive tackle? That remains to be seen. I think Miami needs a little more size in that room. Jared Harrison-Hunte, who we'll talk about, is definitely the athletic guy in that room. Had a great season last year, in my opinion, better than Leonard Taylor. So you got a stout guy, a stout, smaller guy. You got a nice size player, C.J. Clark, moving from the nose to more of a 3 technique. And you have Harrison-Hunte, the athletic guy. I think you need one more strong body in that defensive tackle room to really make it, if not a strength, at least not a weakness, a serviceable unit, which could potentially be above average in the ACC. Is it we're used to in Miami where you have the Russell Marylands, the Cortez Kennedys, the Vince Wilforks, you know, the William Joseph, even Matt Walters kind of guys? I'm not sure is there yet, but if you land another guy in the portal, you're going to have some nice, experienced starters, plus a young wave that could be like the defensive tackles you're used to. 5-star Justin Scott, 5-star Armando Blunt, Artavius Jones, very athletic power lifter / basketball player. And also Josh Horton, another really athletic guy with size. So there's some young talent in that room, but you want to have that bridge of experienced defensive tackle ability. First name I want to talk about in the portal, C.J. West from Kent State, originally from Chicago, one of the best defensive tackles in the MAC. You see him having a sack against Georgia and Stetson Bennett. Big body kid, very good athleticism, 110 career tackles, 19 and a half tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 6'2", 315, again, 310 plus, all MAC, 89.5 grade from Pro Football Focus. So someone like CJ West, who's from Chicago, or Miami's had a lot of success lately. They signed the 2 best players in Chicago last year, Justin Scott, the 5-star we mentioned, and Marquise Lightfoot, the 5-star defensive end. It's a big city. Miami's back there this year, recruiting hard, Nathaniel Marshall, among others. They would love to have a stranglehold in the Midwest, both in the portal and in recruiting. They're doing it in recruiting. CJ West is someone who could be a factor. Miami has offered, and that's a name to monitor. Steven Schrum, who really does a ton for Miami on the defensive side of the ball in the recruiting department. He was around CJ West in Kent State, so they got the background on him. Another name I want to mention from the Midwest, but originally from the South, Simeon Barrow, defensive tackle out of Michigan State. He's originally from the state of Georgia in high school. He entered the portal, had flirted with it last year, but ultimately fully in the portal now. And he is somebody that has been honorable mention All Big Ten twice. Look at the stats: 110 career tackles, 18 and a half tackles for loss, 10 and a half sacks, and what I like, multiple blocked kicks. So you see the explosiveness there. He's someone that's going to have interest from top teams, whether it's Georgia, where he's originally from, Florida State, Miami. This guy's going to be a hot name. Miami will be after him. Again, experienced player, someone who's used to going against those big Ten offensive lines. A bigger player than Branson Dean, who Miami got from the transfer portal last year from Purdue. So he was a very good player in the Big Ten, probably similar production in the Big Ten, but a smaller player than what Simeon Barrow brings. Simeon Barrow, longer, more athletic, at least longer body, is bigger. Dean was a very good athlete. But Simeon Barrow, with those multiple block kicks, does have the explosive ability. So Miami will be looking to add a transfer portal defensive tackle. That is why we are asking you, please consider joining Canes Connection. We got the Zoom call tonight. This is Thursday. Thursday at 8, I will be having a Zoom call for Canes Connection members, giving you the absolute latest on the portal, more than I can give you here, because it will be a non-public setting. It'll be a private link, which we'll send to members if you register for Canes Connection using promo code CIS. That'll also get you 20% off the first month. You will have access to that Zoom call and subsequent Zoom calls. We're going to make these Zoom calls the most exclusive insider, non-public information available. This one will be focused on the portal, and you'll get that on Thursday. If you can't make it at 8 p.m., it will be recorded with a link sent to Canes Connection members. Canes Connection is going to allow us to finish strong in the portal, take care of these great athletes, including Jared Harrison-Hunte, who had an unbelievable season last year, was better than the more touted Leonard Taylor. Flirted with the NFL, ultimately decided to come back. Good for him, good for Miami. And he is a really interesting kid, great interview, and someone with a lot of upside still as he enters his 6th season. So let's hear from Jared Harrison-Hunte.
All right, Canes fans, continuing our series here with Canes Connection athletes on the CanesInSight podcast with another one here, Jared Harrison-Hunte, guy who's been here for a while now at the University of Miami. And, you know, you see his face already, but he's a guy who's taken a lot of leaps in his game, and excited to have him with us here. Defensive lineman at the University of Miami. Again, this is an interview in conjunction with the Canes Connection. Jared, appreciate you taking some time today. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited for that spring game tomorrow and just ready to work.
Talk to us about how spring has gone as a whole. We'll get into a lot of stuff in this interview, get to know you off the field, but we'll start with spring football. You coming back for your last year here in college, right? I know you had an opportunity last year. There was interest, potentially to go play at the next level, right? You could have been in the draft right now, right? But decided to come back for another year, really refine your game. How was this spring for you, knowing what's on the line this next season for you?
I think this spring I wanted to take a big leap as far as technique wise. I feel like I took leaps in knowing the game. I know how to read an offense or read O linemen's feed and where the play is going and stuff like that. It was more so just getting the technique stuff right and being a better football player. And I think this spring I took leaps in that, and I appreciate Jason Taylor and Coach Joe and all the people that were behind me and all the people that believed in me too. So it was definitely an interesting spring. Um, it was harder than usual. Cristobal doesn't he doesn't never take the gas off the pedal with that. But I think that helps it that helps in our favor because in the next level, a lot of kids are not used to that, being easy going and having to do things on your own. But this spring it shows you like you have to take care of your body and in order to like be the pro that you want to be.
Definitely. And we hear it there. A lot of it's about technique and the little things of your position. Something no one's ever questioned with you is your athletic ability. We know your background as a basketball player. We'll get into that in a little bit more, detail here in a bit. But that defensive line, man, that group as a whole, obviously a couple guys coming in as transfers, CJ Clark, Marley Cook, but there's some young guys there, right? You're the vet of that group now as well. Akeem Mesador, Ruben Bain. Oof. I mean, I
The
see it.
vet of the group. That's oh
That
gosh.
hit hard, man. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay. It's just
It's crazy to
everything's going
think
by
about,
so
though, right?
fast. Yeah.
It's crazy to think about, though, right? Because
Mhm.
you've been here for some time now, but again, it still feels like your best football is ahead of you, right?
Yes. Yes, it does. It does. Let's talk about the D line a little bit. Keem, it's going to be very excited to have him back because he's a explosive like playmaker, and he creates like a lot of opportunities for us to make plays because he puts so much pressure on the quarterback. And then when you add Ruben Bain to that, it's just like come on, like it's a sack city for on both sides. And then you have me and Clark and what's it called Marley in there, and don't forget about Ahmad Moen and Anthony Campbell because he's gonna sprinkle some in there too. It's just like a whole bunch of D linemen in this room. Like we have like 20 D linemen in the room. It's just like everybody's so athletic, everybody's so talented. It's gonna be fun this year. Um, Watching everybody get to the quarterback and everybody just playing good football, and everybody being well rested and having like just share reps and everything. Everybody's not like tired and worn down, low in numbers. Everybody, it's just we have a deep D line, very deep.
Jared, I want to ask you, you're really ahead of the curve because you moved down here from New York City in 2019, 2020. Everybody from New York moved down to Miami. My whole neighborhood's in New
Yeah.
York. So, you know, you've been here for a while, but what's that transition been like coming from New York City to Miami now that you've been here for quite a while?
Um, uh, People always ask me this, and I would always say like I feel like Miami is just like a slowed down version of just New York. Like it's still crowded, not crowded as like New York is, but it's just like it still gives like a city feel to it, like it's still big town. If you go to Brickell, like not if you're in Coral Gables and stuff like that, that's where we live. But like if you're in Brickell, it gives off like Manhattan, kind of a little bit less crowded because Manhattan gets crowded if you know you're from like New York. But it's just like the transition was nice. Like I like warm weather. Like I'm a summer baby. Always love warm weather. So like it wasn't that hard to like transition from New York down to here. It really wasn't because I was so excited to move to Miami because I never been to Miami, and then now having the chance to live down here, it was like who wouldn't who couldn't adjust? Like it's just like you're in Miami, like adjust.
Let me ask you, Jared, food wise, New York has a lot of, specialty stuff you're just not going to be able to find down here. Do you miss that side of it or what, man?
I miss that bacon, egg, and cheese like from the delis. I miss the chopped cheeses. I miss the what else I miss? I miss the Chinese stores, how they used to like drench the ketchup and barbecue sauce and the with the fries and chicken, all that. Like it's not the same down here, like as far as food wise. It's more like Hispanic based food, but it's okay. I'm not picky when it comes to food. I just like having good food spots. So
It's nothing like having that where you're from though, right? I mean,
yeah.
you can't get it down here. Obviously, did have the bowl game up there last year, right? So must have been cool for you to get back home a little bit.
Oh yeah, during my free time, I was all over the place. Well, you couldn't tell me where I couldn't go in New York. Like it was just like whenever we had time, like I spent time with my family, or like I'll go to like my favorite food spot or order food from my favorite food spot. It was just like it was good to be back home and see some family and friends, and they got to come out and see me play. And I had like a decent game, so didn't get the result that I wanted, but it was still a decent game on my part. So yeah.
Now that we're on, the topic of New York home, we got to get into the basketball stuff, right? I mean, I have a couple things here I'm going to show. Let's see what we got here. We got first of all, we'll show the picture of you, right? I mean, you're you're a big, obviously you're a defensive lineman, so you're a big boy on that court. But what position did you play, right? What was your style of play, right? And just give us the breakdown of Jared Harrison-Hunte on the court.
Okay. I went through phases in my life when it comes to like basketball. Okay, so my freshman year in high school for basketball, like my freshman sophomore year, I was more so like a 2-3. Like I handled the ball, like yeah. That was like my junior year. Like that was crazy. That was and I did that. I didn't expect me to even dunk because I felt like I jumped from so far. I don't know how I even made that. I was kind of surprised
You made it
myself.
on overtime, man. That's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah, that was a big deal for me at the time. I never been on overtime, but like I did something like flashy, so you got to show it. So,
Right.
but during like my freshman year and sophomore year, I was more like an athletic build, skinnier build. So I was more of a 2-3. And then like during my sophomore year, senior year, because my not my sophomore year, my junior year and senior year is when I transitioned into like football. So like my body started changing a little bit. So I transitioned from like a 2-3 to like a 4 and a 5. I was just a big body, just getting rebounds, still athletic, still moving people out the paint. It was just my game style did change a lot though. Had to like, conform to like basketball conditioning and then go straight into football conditioning and then go right back into like it was kinda hard. It was kinda hard, but like I enjoyed playing basketball and I enjoyed playing football, so I didn't really mind it. So
I
yeah.
was gonna ask you, was that like hard for you to fully commit to, all right, I gotta put this weight on, but I'm a hooper too, so I gotta stay a little slim, at the right time of year. So that must have been, I would think, tough for you to like fully commit to being a big boy, man.
Yeah, it was kinda tough because I didn't know how to like, maintain a healthy body. I was like, I was uneducated. I didn't know. I just thought you just eat a lot of like food and you just get big and just, do what D linemen do. But then transitioning from football to basketball, that was horrible because I had to do suicides as a fat boy. And that's not good at all. That's just horrible. I was like the last on like every suicide. And I kept making my team do suicides. And basketball at Christ the King is just no joke because Coach Joe Arbitello, he don't play. He don't care if you came from football and you're transitioning into conditioning for basketball. He's like, you got to give effort. He's just like principle in that aspect. Like just show that you're trying at least and put in effort. So yeah.
Let me ask you, because we had, Tommy Kinsler on. We talked about the offensive linemen, how they play. You mentioned that he's the point guard. He says Inez Cooper's the shooter. Noah's in the paint. McCoy's out there with the dunks. Do you play basketball with the offensive linemen? Do you play with the defense? What? Give me the scouting report of the guys you play with on the team.
I haven't played basketball in so long. It's probably been like 2 years since I touched the basketball. Like since I've been taking this my like football seriously. I haven't touched basketball in a minute because I'm scared. I don't want to like because when I play basketball, I'm gonna get competitive. I'm gonna want to play hard. I'm gonna want to cross people up and like try to dunk the ball on somebody. Like that's just like like my inner New York, I guess. Like I can't help it. So like so I don't want to. I can't say who's like the best player on the team right now. I've been hearing like we got some good youngsters on the team that could play basketball. Like who plays basketball? X is like a good, spot up shooter. Jalen Rivers, you'd be surprised. He's a good big. He knows how to move people out the paint. He has a light little finger touch, little finger roll. Who else? Jaden Wayne. There's a couple of them on the team, but I haven't played basketball with them in a minute. But right now, if I could like I haven't touched the basketball in a minute. But I still feel like I could still handle the ball. Like it's just gonna come easy to me. Like I used to like dribble up the down sidewalks, just dribbling the ball because
Right.
that's just like something New Yorkers do if you just into basketball. So
I got one more New York related question. Who are your teams up there? Because obviously you have a ton of options, and you know, in
I
terms
used to
of
be a Knicks
all
fan.
that?
I used to be a Knicks fan, but since I'm from Brooklyn, I would say the Nets because when KD and Kyrie was there, I was a fan. As far as football, I would say the Giants because I was a fan of Saquon Barkley when I first came out. So watching him play, or getting the chance to watch him play, last season, and then not the years before that because he was hurt, but like still, I like Saquon Barkley as a back. So yeah, and I got to
Brooklyn.
meet him, and I got to meet him in person too. So that's a plus. Yeah.
Listen, Brooklyn, New York City in general, a lot of great music coming out of there, but a lot of it came out before you were born or when you were a baby. So music-wise, do you listen to New York music or do you listen to music from all over?
I listen to music all over. I would say I listen to a lot of Caribbean music. There's a huge Caribbean presence in New York. So and plus my family is Caribbean, so I listen to that all the time. But I do listen to New York music. I wouldn't say I listen to all the old school rap because I used to listen to Jay-Z, Kanye, and all them boys. But I'm more of like, I don't know if y'all know who this is, but like Sleepy Hollow or
Mhm.
Chef G or J. Out of Prince, New York, or Stunner Gambino, like people. Those are people. Or J. Dot, like drill music, some drill music. But I get into everything. I'm not gonna say I'm just for this particular kind of music. I like it
Hey,
all. If it sounds
rest in
good.
peace, Pop Smoke, man. Talking about those guys. I mean,
Yeah,
he
Pop
was the
Smoke was
one.
gonna go global. He
Yeah,
was
he
gonna
was
go
the one.
global. He was gonna take New York all over the world, but that
Yeah,
had that
he was
go.
the one. He was the one. But
But let me ask you, sorry, Pete, Jared, you mentioned the Caribbean background. So what part of the Caribbean is your family from?
Guyana. It's in South America. People don't like to say it's not in the Caribbean islands, but we share the same, way of living and traditions.
Look, I there's a lot of Guyanese people here in Florida. I know I worked with a couple of them. So have you been able to experience some of that culture here in Miami?
No, I haven't really seen a lot of Caribbean people well, maybe because we're in Coral Gables. I haven't seen them a lot down here. But I'm to be honest, like when I get some free time, I'm looking to go and like see the authentic Guyana itself. Like I want to go to like Guyana. But I heard it's not a really wealthy country. Weather's kind of bad, economy's kind of bad, but still want to see it though, just to
it's the
get where
roots.
I'm from.
Your roots,
Yeah, just
yeah.
the roots. Yeah, I just want to see.
A few more things before we let you go here, Jared. Obviously, got to talk about Canes Connection, who this interview is being brought to everyone here by. Your relationship with them and how they've kind of helped you grow. Obviously, such an important era in college sports where building your brand and building outside of the football field is such an important thing. So talk about what Canes Connection has, kind of helped you with since you've partnered up with them.
As far as building my brand, I haven't gotten a chance to, but they help me in ways that they can't imagine. Like, now that we're getting paid, it's just it helped me in other ways as far as like helping my family. My family was not they weren't struggling, but like it was more so just they after COVID things inflation things got more pricier, so you have to like help people out, and that's what I was able to do. But as far as building my brand, I do need like help in that. So I probably would more like need to interact with Canes Connection more to build my brand based off of that. But I don't know if they have stuff that I like. I'll probably say I don't know if they have like veterinary offices because I'm more of like a animal person, like dog person. So I don't know if they have like stuff like that I'm interested in.
So
Help
that's
me.
what your life after football is going to look like. You're working with animals.
Yeah, canine training on, and even like just you probably see me in a zoo like messing with a chimpanzee or something. I don't know. Like it's just I love animals. So God's creations. It's just they're great. They're raw. They're authentic. They can't fake it. So
Jared, let me ask you something just real quick on football. One of the things that make you such a valuable player for this team and in the future for the NFL is that you play all over the line, right? You stand up, you play on the edge, you play on the inside. Now you do all those things. I know you do it all for the team, and you'll be doing that in the NFL as well, having that versatility. Is there one particular spot that you really enjoy playing at?
ooh, I would say I do like 3 tech. I do like three tech, but I also like the end. Like those one-on-ones are just like it's just fun. It's just one-on-one, man-to-man. Like three tech, sometimes you get those double teams, but I don't mind double teams. You just gotta play that with good technique and low pads. But if I have one, I'll probably pick an end. I like the end. I do like playing end. And it's just so fun. Just one-on-one pass rush or just one-on-one blocking, like defeating one man. I tend to have more success with that because I've been taking on double teams my whole college career. So yeah, taking on one man is not going to like change anything.
Jared, this will be the last question for me. Again, we talked about it in the beginning, but your decision to come back for a final year, right? I mean, just talk about what went into that. And I mean, again, we kind of talked about it at the start of the show, but does it kind of put more importance on what the season is for you? Does that change what your mindset is going into this year?
Yes, just off the simple fact that it is my last year and don't got any more. So I gotta. I when I first started this year off, I came in with a different mindset. So I wanted to be better on the field and off the field because anything you do is just it's just how you're gonna do it. So when I made the decision and decided to come back, I decided to bet on myself and um, just have a great year to where like I'm projected to be either first round talent or second round talent, whatever God blesses me with. But I didn't think that last year was like what I could what I displayed last year isn't something that I feel like
You
the
want to be the
scouts.
last kind of showing for yourself in college.
Yeah, but I want it to be like a complete full showing of my like skill set, and I didn't
Right.
think I got the chance to do that last year. Even though we were low in numbers, that's no excuse. It's just I didn't get to do what I wanted to do because last year was supposed to be my last year technically, but it didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen. So this year is just different year, different mindset, same goal.
Jared Harrison-Hunte, man, excited to see you out there on the field this season, one of the leaders for this defense, and setting an example, right? Weren't completely happy with how last year ended, so you said I got to come back and be a part of the change for this season. So thank you once again for taking the time with us today, Jared, and with Canes Connection, and best of luck this season. Best of luck in the spring game.
Thank you guys for having me, and you guys have a great day.